Hi, I'm here to talk about Batman and Mr. Freeze SubZero. Batman Mask the Phantasm is a film that I feel like hasn't held up that great. But what about SubZero? I actually like SubZero more than Mask of the Phantasm now. And that wasn't always the case. I used to like Phantasm more because it had the Joker. I was such a huge Joker fan, and I am a really, really big fan of the Joker. But I now like Batman's villains in general to get lots of attention, not just the Joker and a few others. And I like the story of Sub-Zero more. It appeals to me more. And if you like the story to Mask of the Phantasm more, I think that's perfectly fair. I want to express how I personally feel about the film. I could understand why some people would feel disappointed about it because Batman doesn't really feel like the main character. It very much feels like Mr. Freeze's film, and I feel like Robin and Barbara also get more focus. And I could understand wanting Batman films to really be focused on Batman. However, there are so many Batman films, if you count the animated films, that I'm okay with Batman occasionally having a role that feels a little bit smaller than the lead role. I think what's important is that Batman in the film, it still very much feels like the big hero. He gets a lot of important stuff done. I don't feel like he's barely in it. I feel like the a lot of the character development goes to Mr. Freeze, and a lot of the um, character focus goes to Robin and Barbara. But I don't feel like Batman's a throwaway character by any means. I feel like he has a lot of scenes where he's doing very important things, working very hard to solve what's going on, and he is very cool when he's there. It's able to feel very caring and heroic, and I really like that it's clear that he does care about Mr. Freeze, even though Mr. Freeze is a villain. It's clear that he does want to help him. And it's also, of course, clear that he wants to save Barbara, and he feels very likable in the film. And so I do really like Batman's role in the film, even though it's not as big as I would normally want Batman's role in a film to be. I do like his role. Mr. Freeze is really good in the film. Um, I think that Mr. Freeze's appearance in Batman the Animated Series are really good, but to be honest, I like Sub Zero the most out of Mr. Freeze's animated stuff. I feel like a lot of Mr. Freeze's humanity comes out the most in Sub Zero. I like the idea of him looking after a kid that he found. I feel like it helps shows that he does care about more than just himself and his wife. I like him having sympathy for the kid, and I really like how vulnerable and human Mr. Freeze is able to feel later on, where it feels like he cares more about his wife and the kid they found getting to safety over himself. And I feel like that type of humanity and selflessness is not normally seen in villains in films. It's really cool to see that nuance. And Mr. Freeze is a very compelling character, and I think he feels more human and sympathetic than ever in Sub Zero. A lot of my favorite moments are of him are in Sub Zero. Uh, Robin is good in the film. He has an important role. Very caring, very responsible. Barbara is really good in the film. I guess a little nitpick. I would love to have more of her as Batgirl. I think there's just one quick scene of her as Batgirl. That is a little uh, underwhelming, but she is great as Barbara. She is very proactive. She is very caring, um, and she is very likable. And I like that she has a really big role in the film. Um, Alfred's good in the film, good solid stuff. Commissioner Gordon, of course, very caring about what happens to his daughter. I feel like his role is better in this film than in Mask of the Phantasm, where he's not in it that much, but he does feel more proactive than he did in Mask of the Phantasm. Um, Something that really stands out about SubZero is how beautiful the animation is. I think it has some of the best animation from the continuity of with the Batman the animated series and Superman and those various shows and and the spin-off films and stuff. The animation is just so incredible to look at. There's so many scenes where it's just hard not to feel very impressed by how good looking it is. I love the animation. It feels like it has a real theatrical sort of quality to it. And it would have, I think, would have been amazing if it had a big screen release because of how gorgeous it looks. And I think that the film has a very exciting climax with the heroes and villains being at risk. As a kid, I remember thinking that was very epic, and it turns out there's a lot of really emotional stuff there. And I love how the film ends. I think it has a very comforting, great ending. I love the ending. Um, and I wish that SubZero was the last time that Mr. Freeze appeared in that continuity. Um, at least to a certain extent, because I do think his appearance in Batman Beyond is really good, but his new Batman Adventures appearance, I think, is one of the weakest episodes of that show and the worst episode he has in that continuity. Um, and I like Mr. Freeze getting to end things off on a happy note. Although I do also love what's done with him in Batman Beyond, so I have a little bit of mixed feelings on that. But part of me does, actually, a big part of me really wishes that like a big part and a small part of me wishes that SubZero was the big finale for Mr. Freeze's storyline. And I know that would have been short, 2 episodes and then SubZero, but I think it would have been really cool to do that. So I guess that's a bit unfortunate. That's not how things ended, but I don't think that takes anything away from SubZero as a film. I think it's a really good film, and it's a little short. I think it's just like barely over an hour, um, and I actually think it would have been cool if it was closer to Phantasm's length with 10 more minutes and stuff. I think that could have given a little bit more time for Batman and some stuff to be a little fleshed out more. And I would have liked if there was a way for Batgirl to be in costume for more of the movie. So I have a few nitpicks, but overall I think it's a really good film.